The grand amphitheater of the Galactic Council hummed with the conversations of 1,000 different species. Crystalline beings from Xerion Prime chimed melodically with their silicon-based voices, while the towering Krillians communicated through elaborate color displays across their chitinous shells. At the center of it all, Ambassador Vexithari of the dominant Zalani Federation raised his forearms for silence. "Fellow counselors," his translated voice echoed through the chamber. "We gather today to address the growing threat of the Devourer Swarms. These mechanical parasites have already consumed 17 systems in the outer rim. Our military projections show they will reach the core worlds within 2 standard cycles." A wave of concerned murmurs rippled through the assembly. The Devourers were unlike anything the galaxy had encountered before, self-replicating machines that consumed entire planets to fuel their expansion, leaving nothing but barren rock in their wake. "Forces have failed to stop them," continued Vexithari, his scales shifting to a deep purple indicating grave concern. "The warrior clans of Brutus have been decimated. Even the legendary battle poets of Lyra 7 could not hold the line. We face extinction unless we act decisively." From the upper galleries, a small delegation sat quietly. They were unremarkable by galactic standards, bipedal, pale-skinned creatures with limited natural weapons and no obvious evolutionary advantages. The humans had only joined the Galactic Council 50 years ago, and their homeworld Earth was considered a backwater planet in an insignificant system. "What of the newer species?" asked Councillor Zephron, a towering insectoid whose compound eyes swept across the chamber. "Perhaps fresh perspectives might yield new strategies?" Vexithari's gaze briefly passed over the human delegation before settling on a group of aquatic beings. "The depth dwellers of Aquanus have already volunteered their submarine fleets for reconnaissance missions. The hive mind of Collectia will contribute their computational networks for tactical analysis." Ambassador Sarah Chen of Earth raised her hand. "What about humanity? We'd like to contribute to the war effort." The chamber fell silent, then erupted in what could charitably be called polite laughter. The crystalline Xerians produced harmonious chimes of amusement, while the Krillians flashed amused yellow patterns across their shells. Vexithari's expression softened with what humans might have recognized as condescension. "Dear Ambassador Chen, we appreciate your enthusiasm, but warfare requires specific biological and technological advantages. Your species, while charming in your own way, lacks the necessary adaptations. You have no natural weapons, no enhanced strength, no psychic abilities. Your technology, though adequate for peaceful purposes, is hardly suitable for the kind of conflict we face." "But surely," Chen persisted, "our military has never faced anything more challenging than conflicts among your own species," interrupted Councillor Mordak, a heavily armored reptilian whose people had conquered a dozen systems through pure military might. "You've had a few skirmishes on your single planet, but you've never experienced true galactic warfare. The Devourers don't negotiate, don't retreat, don't feel fear or pain. They simply consume everything in their path." Another council member, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, pulsed with dismissive light patterns. "The psychological profiles of your species are quite clear, Ambassador. Humans are conflict-averse. You spend considerable resources trying to avoid wars, not win them. When forced into combat, you prioritize minimizing casualties over achieving victory. Such compassion is admirable in peacetime but fatal in war." Chen's jaw tightened, but she maintained her diplomatic composure. "Perhaps you underestimate—" "The matter is settled," Vexithari declared with finality. "Humanity will contribute to the refugee assistance programs. Your talent for logistics and resource management will be invaluable in supporting non-combatant evacuations. Leave the fighting to those evolved for it." The human delegation said nothing more as the council moved on to discuss battle formations and weapon deployments. But Ambassador Chen noticed something others missed: the slight smile that crossed the face of General Marcus Torres, her military advisor, when he thought no one was looking. 3 months later, the Devourer Swarms had advanced further than anyone predicted. The combined fleets of 12 species lay in ruins across 4 systems. Parasites had adapted to every tactic, overcome every weapon, consumed every defensive position fed to them. In the emergency session of the Galactic Council, panic was palpable. Species that had never shown fear were now openly discussing evacuation plans for their home worlds. "The situation is beyond desperate," Vexithari admitted, his proud bearing replaced by defeated exhaustion. "Our latest intelligence suggests the Devourers will reach the core worlds within weeks, not cycles. They've somehow learned to replicate our weapons and use them against us." That's when Ambassador Chen stood up. "The human fleets are in position." The chamber fell silent again, but this time without laughter. "Excuse me?" Vexithari's translator seemed to glitch. "I said the human fleets are in position. We've been engaging the Devourers for the past 2 weeks across 17 different fronts." General Torres activated a holographic display that showed tactical readouts across multiple star systems. Green markers, human forces, were not only holding defensive positions, but actively pushing back red markers representing the Devourer Swarms. "Counselor." Mordak's armored plates clattered in disbelief. "Impossible. Our greatest warriors couldn't slow them down. How could your peaceful species possibly—" "That's where you made your mistake," Torres interrupted, his voice carrying the weight of someone who had seen real combat. "You assumed that because we try to avoid wars, we don't know how to fight them. You confused reluctance with inability." Chen activated another display showing historical data from Earth. "What you didn't understand is that our conflict-averse nature isn't weakness, it's efficiency. We've had thousands of years to perfect the art of warfare precisely because we understand its cost. Every major conflict on our world taught us something new about strategy, technology, psychology. When we say we want to avoid war," Torres continued, "it's not because we're afraid of fighting. It's because we're afraid of what we become when we fight. You see, the thing about humans is that we don't just wage war. We excel at it. We innovate, we adapt, we endure, and we never, ever give up." The tactical display showed Devourer Swarms, previously unstoppable, being systematically dismantled by human forces using tactics none of the other species had even considered. "While you were throwing your warrior casts against them in honorable single combat," Torres explained, "we were studying their patterns, their replication cycles, their resource dependencies. We didn't try to overpower them. We simply cut off their supply lines and turned their own adaptive capabilities against them." Vexithari shred at the displays showing human victories across multiple fronts. "But your psychological profiles, your aversion to casualties," Chen's expression hardened. "That aversion makes us better at war, not worse. We fight to end conflicts quickly and decisively because we understand the true cost of prolonged warfare. Every human life is precious to us, so we make sure that when we fight, we win." "The Devourers are in full retreat," Torres announced as new data streamed across the displays. "Our fleets are pursuing them back toward the outer rim. They should be completely eliminated within the month." The chamber remained silent for a long moment before Vexithari found his voice. How many ships did you lose?" 17, Chen replied. "Total." The number hung in the air like an impossibility. The combined fleets of the galaxy's greatest military powers had lost thousands of vessels. Humanity had lost 17. "Perhaps," Chen said quietly, "next time the galaxy faces an existential threat, you might want to ask the species that actually knows how to win wars." As the human delegation filed out of the chamber, the rest of the Galactic Council sat in stunned silence, finally understanding that sometimes the most dangerous warriors are those who understand the true cost of war and are determined to end it as quickly as possible. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson. Never mistake reluctance for inability, especially when it comes to humanity.